Hey everybody, welcome to a GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Kill Team 2024's Voidscarred, the Corsairs of the Aeldari, who are space pirates, kind of a mixed blend of all the different races of the Aeldari. So you've got some Harlequins mixed in with some Drukhari, mixed in with some Aeldari, Craftworlds style, and yeah, this is one of the legacy warbands or kill teams from I think 2 kill teams ago. So not actually even before Galadark. So before Beta Decima, before Galadark, I think it's one of the ones from not Octavius. It was one in between. The one with like all the oil or the electro things. Shoot, I've completely forgotten the name of that one with the Phobos Marines. At least 3 years ago, kill team time. So this is, again, one of the like 8 card packs basically that I've gotten advanced copies of to show off, and represents one of the 2 Aeldari teams. The Mandrake team is also going to be reviewed today, so you can check them out too. They were from the Beta Decima, which was the last cycle of kill team stuff to come out. And these were sent as a complimentary review copy by Games Workshop for me to show off to you guys and get some games in with and generally learn the rules for. So here we have our kill team card. This is laid out exactly the same way as the Hivestorm dossier. If you want to know what the universal equipment cards do, I'm not going to review them every time I do one of these card sets. I review them in the Hivestorm book, so you'll be able to kind of understand what they are. There's a whole list of universal stuff that you can take now, grenades and different types of barricades and razor wire and ladders and all kinds of cool bits and pieces that allow for some team customization and also are very useful for playing in different types of environments. The ladders in Volcus might not be super useful, but they're very useful in Beta Decima for going up and down gantries. And yeah, it's all exactly the same formatting except on these tarot-sized cards. And let me tell you, having played out of the Hivestorm dossier, having these tarot-sized cards is way easier for gameplay. I wish I had them for the Hivestorm teams, and I was really missing them after playing a couple games of the Scouts. I was very much missing playing with the cards, and having to flip in and out of the book was way less easy. So I really like these card sets, and it seems like this is the way that they're going to support the legacy teams from the previous cycles as they like move forward. And I'm sure that the newer teams will come with these as well as we get like box sets and upgrades for the Hivestorm box. So first card, we have our actual team card. Now, if you are playing a approved ops game, which is sort of the like matched play version of playing kill team, supported by this card deck right here, which I also reviewed today. You have archetypes for your team, which is infiltration and recon. Most everything in here is going to be similar to what you saw in the previous edition, just updated to the new rules. So the Felarch and 8 Corsair Voidscarred are what you can take on your team. This is one of those teams where you actually can't take everyone. You've got 8 options, and I think you have 9 different types of troops on the card. So with your pirate, your Felarch, he can have either a shuriken rifle, shuriken pistol, and power weapon, or a neuro disruptor and power weapon as his weapon loadouts. And then you get 8 Voidscarred, 8 pirates, and they have to be taken from either the Fate Dealer, Gunner, Heavy Gunner, Kurnathi, Kernite Hunter, Shaderunner, Soul Weaver, Starstorm Duelist, Wayseeker, or the basic warriors. Other than warriors, you can take everybody else once, but the Wayseeker, Starstorm Duelist, Soul Weaver, Shaderunner, Kernite Hunter, Kurnathi, Heavy Gunner, Gunner, and Fate Dealer are 9 selections, which means you can't even get all the specialists. The only other prohibition is you can't have a blaster and a wraith cannon because it's just too much heavy weapon. They can't both be in the same list. But you could have a blaster and a shuriken cannon, or a shredder and a wraith cannon. You just can't have the 2 most lethal guns. And that's it. Faction rules, these are going to sound pretty familiar for people who've played this faction before. Rifles. Whenever a friendly Corsair Voidscarred operative is shooting with a shuriken rifle or ranger long rifle during an activation in which it has not performed a charge, fallback, or reposition action, it has accurate 1. Note that objective operative isn't restricted from doing it after shooting. So like you could shoot first, then move, and you get to keep accurate 1. And then raiders, each friendly Corsair Voidscarred operative can perform a free dash action during their activation. So they don't quite have 3 APL, but they do have a bonus APL just for dash, which is kind of interesting. It doesn't change how they hold objectives, but they're super mobile, and it's kind of like the old Eldar fleet of foot sort of idea, where you get to have a little bonus move. All right, 4 strategic ploys. They happen as gambits, so that means they happen during the strategic phase, and they last for the turning point. Plunderers, up to D3 friendly Corsair Voidscarred. Operatives can immediately perform a free dash action in order of your choice. That's on top of the one they get for free during their activation. It happens during the strategy phase. This turning point, each that doesn't so cannot perform the dash action during their activation. However, you cannot use this play during the first turning point. So you can do like an out of turn move, but then it'll cost you your faction rule dash. Piratical profiteers, any foolish any foolish enough to attempt to contest a prize claimed by the Corsair Voidscarred will soon find themselves caught in a blizzard of shuriken fire and sword thrusts. Whenever a friendly Corsair Voidscarred operative is shooting, fighting, or retaliating, if it or the enemy operative in that sequence contests an objective marker or one of your mission markers, that friendly operative's weapons have balanced. So if you're standing, like let's say you're doing the Seek and Destroy mission where you need to drop or not Seek and Destroy, the Recon mission where you need to drop a confirmed kill marker. If you're standing next to the confirmed kill marker that you just made or that is next to you nearby, you gain balance while you're shooting. So it ties into TAC Ops really well. Mobile engagement. Whenever an operative is shooting a friendly Corsair Voidscarred operative that has performed an action in which it moved during the turning point, you can reroll one of your defense dice. So if you basically use your free dash, you get to reroll a defense die. And then outcasts, whenever a friendly Corsair Voidscarred operative is more than 5 from other friendly operatives, its weapons have the punishing special rule. So if you've got someone with like a cool long rifle, like your sniper, have him stand away from everybody else and he gains punishing. Punishing is if you gain a... Not severe. Punishing is, severe is when you get, at least when you get all hits, but no crits, one of your hits turns into a crit. Punishing is, I think, the opposite. If you get, if you retain any crits, you retain one of your fails as a normal success. Yeah, it upgrades a miss to a hit, basically. And then your firefight phase ploys, opportunistic fighters use this firefight ploy when an enemy operative performs the fallback action before it moves and inflict 2d3 damage on that operative for every friendly Corsair Voidscarred operative within range. So basically, if you turn away from them, they all knife you. Light fingers use this firefight ploy during a friendly Corsair Voidscarred operative's action or activation. Until the end of that activation, having an enemy operative within your control range doesn't prevent that friendly operative from doing pickup or mission actions. So being able to like do it while you're engaged is super handy, especially for flipping some of the like major, critical ops, the primary ones. Capricious Flight uses firefight ploy during a friendly Corsair Voidscarred operative's activation. During that activation, that operative can perform the fallback action for 1 less AP, so normally it's 2. Goes to 1. And then Contemptuous Adventurer. Use this firefight ploy when you activate your first friendly Corsair Voidscarred operative during the turning point, if it's more than 5 from other friendly operatives. The first time that operative performs either the shoot or fight action, its weapons have Relentless, which means you reroll all of your like attack dice. Ceaseless is reroll all of one type of dice, and then Balance is reroll a single type of dice or a single die. Note this ploy cannot come into effect more than once per activation. You cannot use it during both the shoot and fight actions. So if you fought, killed somebody, and then shot, you wouldn't be able to use it for both. All right, and then we're into our actual, and there's a lot of different types because like I said earlier, there's 9 gunner or specialists, then there's the actual warrior, then there's also the Felarch. So overall, there's 11 different card types in this faction. So the basic warrior, this is the stat line that everything else is based on. So they've got 2 APL, move 7, one of the fastest teams in the game, 4+ save and 8 wounds, so slightly tougher than humans. Shuriken pistols, shuriken rifles, power weapons, and power fists. It's cool that they all come with power weapons because they're space pirates. The pistol is the same as the shuriken rifle. They both have rending, and they're 4 attacks, 3+, 3/4 damage. It's like a better bolter and bolt pistol because that's rending. Rending is you will upgrade one of your hits to a crit if you get a crit. So if you've already got a crit, you get an additional one. And then the power weapon is 4 attacks at 3+, 4/6 damage, and lethal 5+. So even your basic warriors are pretty awesome. And they get Prowling Raider. You can use Capricious Flight and Light Fingers for 0 CP each if a friendly warrior operative is the specified Corsair Voidscarred operative. So like you can use Light Fingers, which means pushing buttons while you're engaged, and also Capricious Flight to fall back for 1 AP for nothing, for free. So they're just core abilities of the warriors, which honestly makes the warriors really compelling to take, because that's a really powerful ability compared to some of the specialists. And there's your leader, he's the Felarch. He gets an extra wound. He does not have an extra APL though. They are pretty judicious about handing out extra APLs here because you get the free dash. He's got Veteran Raider. This operative can perform a 1 AP action for free during their activation as a result of the Aeldari Raiders rule instead of a dash. So he doesn't have 3 APL again, but he gets to do the dash as any action instead. And then 1 step ahead, once per battle, after an enemy operative performs an action during its activation, if this operative is ready, you can use this rule. If you do roll a d6, if the result's higher than the enemy operative's APL stat, you can interrupt that activation and immediately perform either a free shoot or free fight action with this operative. But other enemy operatives cannot be selected as a valid target. So he has like an Overwatch reaction. So if you can see somebody do something and you can roll higher than their AP stat, it's like a reflex thing. He like guns them down. After you perform this though, subtract 1 from their APL stat until the end of its next activation. So you're spending it during their activation in between actions, but you do still lose an APL the next time you go. So interesting leader type because he's not really supporty. And we have our 2 gunners. They're the same as the warriors, except they get blasters and shredders. So the blaster is 4 attacks, 3 plus 4, 5 with piercing 2, so you get 1 defense dice against it. And then the shredder is 4 attacks, 3 plus 4, 5 with rending, so you upgrade a crit, hit to a crit if you get a crit, and torrent 2. Heavy gunner, he's got the shuriken cannon, which can do focus or sweeping. It's basically the same as the heavy bolters and other factions. So you can only dash with it, but it's got rending, and then the sweeping trades a shot for torrent 1. So normally it's 5 attacks, 3 plus 4, 5 damage, but for 1 less shot, you can shoot at multiple targets within an inch of the initial one. And then the Wraith Cannon is 4 attacks, 3 plus 6, 3 damage, devastating 4, heavy dash, piercing 2. And it doesn't have a range limit. That thing is insane. It can do, oh my God, it can do 28 damage. It can just kill a Space Marine immediately. If you get 2 crits, it just kills a Space Marine. There's almost nothing, Space Marine gets 1 save and just dies. That's why you only get 1 of them. And then you get your Fate Dealer. This is your sniper. So he's got a Ranger long rifle. It's one of the few long rifles left. It's like the Space Marine one. It's always silent. A lot of them get concealed position now, which means the first shot of the game is silent. After that, you gotta go loud. But this guy can stay silent the whole game. It's devastating 3, heavy, silent, 4 attacks, 2 plus 3, 3 damage. If you go mobile though, it loses it to hit and then gains a crit, but loses devastating. And then Camo Cloak, whenever someone's shooting him, ignore the saturate special rule. And if you can retain any cover saves, you get an additional one, or you can retain a crit instead. Your Kurnathi is a Blade Master. This is your stabbing man. He's got dual power weapons with ceaseless and lethal 5+. So he's got ceaseless, means you reroll all of 1 dice result types. If you roll like 3 2s, you can roll all the 2s. Reroll, 3 1s, you roll all the 1s. And Blade Master, this operative can perform the dash action during an activation, which should also perform the charge action, which means he can use his free one, but can only use any remaining movement distance from the charge. So if you didn't charge your full distance, you can still free dash afterwards. And then Bladed Stance. Whenever this operative is fighting or retaliating, you can resolve 1 of your successes before the normal order. If you do so, that success must be to block. So you get to basically, if you're going first, you double dip, but 1 of them has to be to block, then you could do an attack. It just keeps you safe because you're only an 8 wound dude in melee. Your Birdman, your Kernite Hunter, he's got his Falshu, which is Falcon. It's attack 4, 3 plus to hit, 1, 2 damage, rending, so you can upgrade a crit to a hit to a crit. Saturate, so no bonus dice for cover. Seek Light and Silent, so you get to reroll against guys in light cover. And then Silence, you can use it while you're concealed. And then he's got a shuriken pistol on a power weapon, just like a normal warrior. He's got his Falshu's Bond. The first time each turning point this operative is retaliating, if it hasn't used its Falshu's range weapon during this turning point, in the resolve attack dice step of that sequence, you resolve the first attack dice. So like the defender instead of the attacker. Erudite Hunter, it's a strategic gambit. Select 1 enemy operative within 9 of this operative. Once during this turning point, during that enemy operative's activation, after it performs an action in which it moves, you can interrupt that action and perform either a free reposition, so like a walk, with this operative, or a free charge action with this operative. You can change its order to do so, and it must end its move within control range of that enemy operative. And this doesn't reduce your APL. So very cool, because it's a strategic gambit. You're doing it during the strategy phase, and if someone's within 9 of you, you basically pick him out. Once during this turning point, when they do their activation, after you do your activation in which it moves, you can just interrupt and run after them. So like, you pin someone down within 9, they make a dash, you can just charge into them if you want to, or you can walk to go gain line of sight to them. It doesn't cost you anything. Soul Weaver, this is your little psycher. They're basically just a warrior with a power weapon and shuriken pistol, but they've got a soul channel for an AP. They have 2 different actions. Select 1 other friendly Corsair Voidscarred operative visible within 6 and give it +1 to its APL, so you can hand the APL from the Voidscarred off. And then Soul Heal, select a friendly Voidscarred operative visible within 6 and they get 2d3 lost wounds back. So this is a real support character. It's built-in healing into your like kill team, but it also gives you the ability to like hand off APL. So your leader can't do that, but the Soul Weaver can, which means typically you're just going to conceal them in like a clump of guys who are either shooting or need additional APL for other things like special like unique actions like the, where is he? The no, I think that's it. I was gonna say the universal equipment actions. So like if you wanted to like give someone the riot shield, you could have them pick it up and put it down for free during a move by giving them an extra APL and stuff like that. Voidscarred Starstorm Duelist. Some of this stuff is such a tongue twister. He's got a fusion pistol and a shuriken pistol. So his normal shuriken pistol is just like the warrior one. The fusion pistol is 4 shots, 3+, 5/3 damage, but range 3 inches, super short range, devastating 3 and piercing 2. It's like a baby melt-a-gun. He's quick on the trigger. This operative can perform the shoot action while it's within control range of enemy operatives. If it does, when selecting a valid target, you have to select someone in control range. You can do so even if there's other friendly operatives in control range. So you can kind of use your guns as melee weapons, but you can't retaliate them, which is really cool. And then Pistol Barrage for 1 AP, perform 2 free shoot actions with this operative, and this takes precedence over action restrictions. You must select its fusion pistol for 1 action, its shuriken pistol for the other, but you can't do it while you're concealed. So yeah, Pistol Barrage is pretty cool. Charge Pistol Barrage, that is a hyper dangerous dude because there's no fighting back against it. And then your Shaderunner, this is your sort of Harlequin. It feels almost like a baby Solitaire from the Harlequins. Has throwing blades, which are range 6 and silent, so little 4 attack, 3+, 2/4 damage. And then Aeldari blades, 4 attacks, 3+, 3/5 damage, ceaseless and lethal 5+. You have blink back. Whenever this operative performs the charge, fall back, or reposition action, it can warp jump. If it does, don't move it. Instead, remove it from the kill zone and set it back up wholly within 7 of its original location, measuring horizontal distances only. But in Galadark, this distance can be measured through walls. It must be set up in a location to be placed. Unless it's a charge action, it cannot be set up within control range of the enemy. He's also got a slicing attack, so there's your bounce thing. Whenever this operative performs the reposition action with a warp jump, you can use this rule. If you do so, after it moves, draw an imaginary line 1 millimeter up to 7 inches long between it and the previous location. Note this does not have to be a straight line. Inflict D3 + 2 damage on an enemy operative the line crosses over. A 28 mil round marker can be temporarily placed underneath in order to show where this model is going to go. And you've got those in your counter set, which we'll show off last. This is the counter set. Oh no, this is the Mandrake one. The counter set that came in the previous book is usable here too with all this stuff. Like your 1 step ahead token, your Warding Shield token, and your Mistfield token. And then we got our equipment. All right, so the equipment is bespoke equipment for the team. Again, a lot of the teams have gotten equipment which is almost like a no-brainer. In particular, the Vespid Stingwings, they almost have to take all 4 pieces. All 4 pieces are so good and so integral to how the team plays, you almost will never use universal equipment. That's not quite true here, but they've got some really good equipment as well. So diurnal mantles. Whenever an operative is shooting a friendly Corsair Voidscarred, such a tongue twister, operative, if the range weapon in this sequence has the Blast or Torrent rule, you can reroll 1 of your defense dice. So basically you're better against like explodey things. In addition, friendly Corsair Voidscarred operatives aren't affected by the X devastating weapon rule. So devastating wounds that splash out, you just don't get affected by. And this equipment, and a lot of these equipment pieces in this new edition, they affect the whole team. It's not like you give a piece to somebody, it's just everybody gets this rule. So this makes you immune to devastating splash damage, and also you get to reroll dice against blasts. A mist field. Once per turning point, when an operative is shooting a friendly Corsair Voidscarred operative that's more than 3 away, at the start of roll defense dice step, you can use this rule. If you do, worsen the X of piercing on this weapon by 1 until the end of the sequence. Note that piercing 1 would therefore be ignored. So just, if you're more than 6 away, the first time you get shot with something piercing, there's not a lot of piercing in the game, you just ignore it. And for a 4+ save team, that's pretty great. And then Runes of Guidance, once per turning point when a friendly Corsair Voidscarred Wayseeker or Soulweaver operative is performing a psychic action, excluding Warpfold, you can use this rule. If you do until the end of the action, add 3 to its distance requirement. Note this has no effect against psychic weapons, so like anything like Devastating Distance for the Lightning Strike. And then finally, did I read the Wayseeker? I just feel like, oh, I didn't, I missed it. I didn't do that one yet. Let's talk about them right now. I thought I flipped the card and saw Warrior, but the Wayseeker was still there. This is your other Psyker. They've got guns that are all psychic, so Freezing Grasp, 4 attacks, 3+, 1/2 damage, and it's Psychic Severe, which means that it can upgrade a hit to a crit if you don't get any crits. And then Silent, which means you can do it while you're concealed, and Stun, which means that you lose an APL if you get hit by it. So it's only 1/2 damage, but it's really debilitating. Lightning Strike, 4 attacks, 3+, 4/3 damage. Psychic, 2 inches, devastating and 2. So this is like your Warp Lightning, your Emperor Palpatine Lightning. And it's only 2-inch range, so you're not shooting very far. And that's why it said here that the Runes of Guidance don't add to the range of that one. Or the devastating distance of the Lightning Strike. So 2-inch devastating means that you're doing, when you get crits, everything within 2 takes 2 damage. You don't add to the range of that with the faction equipment. And then Shuriken Pistol and Witch Staff, it's a psychic melee weapon, which is shock. So no adding to your melee range, basically, right? So 4 attacks, 3+, 3/5 damage. Has no psychic powers. upgraded on its weapon profile by these runes of guidance. But these guys like Warp Fold, which is psychic, so that's 1 AP, select 2 friendly Corsair Voidscarred operatives, visible and within 5 of this operative, remove them both from the kill zone and set them up back up in each other's previous locations. If one of them performed a charge, fallback, or reposition action during this turning point, and then the other is ready, the other cannot perform any of those actions until its activation during this turning point. So you swap places with somebody, and you can't perform this while you're in control range of an enemy operative. And then Warding Shield, so select 1 friendly Voidscarred operative visible within 6 of this operative until the start of this operative's next activation, until it's incapacitated or until it performs this action again, whichever comes first. The first time an attack dice inflicts damage on a friendly operative, ignore the damage dice. So you put like a one-shot Sonic the Hedgehog shield on it that blocks all that damage. And again, you can't do this if you're within control range of an enemy operative. So cool, because you could do both these and then dash for your free dash action if you wanted to. And it's just handy for like getting guys out of melee if you need them to, putting someone else in melee to make 2 attacks. So for instance, with Warp Fold, you could have somebody charge in like the Starstorm Duelist, and then you could Warp Fold in like into someone who's already activated, and then you could Warp Fold in the pistol guy, and the pistol guy could do his crazy double guns, or like send in the Shaderunner and then have somebody else go in. There's a bunch of different options you could do there with the Warp Fold and stuff like that. And then finally, star charts, Strategic Gambit. This is roll a d3. If the result is higher than the number of the current turning point, you gain a CP, and cannot use this strategic battle for the gambit for the rest of the battle. So you're going to use this one in the first turn. You're going to gain a CP. CPs roll over, so you might as well. And it's basically just like a free little extra thing. If you don't get it and you just keep trying, like if you do it in the first battle round, you would just have it go away, gain a CP, and can't use it again for the rest of the battle. If you waited, because it has to be higher, so you have to get a 2+ in the first try, a 3+ in the second try. So like, you just keep trying until you get it, basically, and to get a free CP. It's pretty cool for a free CP. You've got a lot of things you probably want to use them for, because you do, actually 2 of these would be free if you took Warriors. And then you get your little marker and token guide. So who would you drop from here? Honestly, probably the Baby Gunner. I'd take the Wraith Cannon. I'd probably drop the Blaster and Shredder. Everything else in here is really cool. I might drop the Kernite Hunter. His ability is neat, but kind of situational. So I might take the Blaster over him, because other than that, he's basically just a warrior. The rest of them are still pretty cool. All their gimmicks are pretty neat. I like the ability to shoot with all their rifle weapons, and they have tons of like support options from the Wayseer and the Wayseeker, and the other one, the Soul Weaver, are both super handy for like your long range guns. It's a good mix of like long range shooting with the sniper and the heavy, backed up by the Wayseeker and the Soul Weaver, and then having lots of guys go in up close, such as the Kurnathi, the Starstorm Duelist, and the Shaderunner to go get like up close and personal with their swords and all their cool melee abilities. So there it is, the Corsair Voidscarred. Man, you could make such a cool Rogue Trader version of this with like old Rogue Trader outfits too, but I do like these miniatures in general. I like the fact they're like a mix of different Aeldari races, and I'm excited to paint them. So there are tons more reviews up today. If you haven't already seen them, you can check out a review of the Hivestorm box, gameplay videos for a Let's Play for us trying out the rules in the box, as well as the joint operations with me and Dave and me and Chris from Loads of War Games and Hobbies, and then tons of other reviews for the card packs that I was sent the advanced copies of for you guys to check out. So big thanks for watching. We'll see you for more GMG reviews today, and Kill Team in the future. Till I'm Ash.